Hi there. In this video, we're going to be looking at inciting incident. So what's an inciting incident? Well, it's really simple. The inciting incident is the catalyst for the whole play. It's the event that sets in motion the action of the play. In every story, it's the moment the journey begins. So I've got a really great quote here from a book called Into the Woods by John York. It says, "All stories have a premise. What if?" This what if is almost always the inciting incident, and inciting incidents are always the something that happens in every story. And that's the key bit there, the something that happens. The inciting incident is the something that happens. That being said, the inciting incident on its own is not enough to get a story started. So if you remember in the video on protagonist versus antagonist, we said that the protagonist needs a goal, something that's driving them, and the inciting incident establishes that goal. So here's a quick summary before we move on to some examples. The inciting incident is the event that sets in motion the action of the play. It triggers the start of the story. It's directly responsible for establishing the goal of the protagonist. And this goal propels the protagonist into action, thus kickstarting the action of the play. So now we've got a couple of examples. So we'll look at Hamlet. The inciting incident in Hamlet is that he is visited by the ghost of his father, who informs him that his brother Claudius murdered him so he could become king. Hamlet's goal is then to avenge his father's death. And even though this happens towards the end of the first act, this is the point where the story truly starts. We've got another example here, Oedipus. So the inciting incident in Oedipus is the oracle tells King Oedipus that the plague and thieves will only end when the murderer of the previous king is found and brought to justice. Oedipus's goal is then to discover the identity of the murderer, and the action of the play is the steps that he goes on to make this discovery. There's one thing that you have to bear in mind, as you'll have noticed with these two examples, is that a true inciting incident forces the protagonist to take action. They can't ignore it. They absolutely have to do something. And so this forces you to consider what's at stake. So what do I mean by what's at stake? Well, think about it this way. If I got up and walked to the other side of the room, there is nothing at stake. I don't need to do anything. There's no urgency. There's no reason for me to take any action. However, if I got up to walk to the other side of the room, but on the way I tripped, fell, and broke my leg, well, now I have to do something. Now I'm forced to take action, and that is a true inciting incident. So with that in mind, I've got a little task here for you. What we've got here is a bunch of examples of inciting incidents, and I want you to sort them into two groups: promising inciting incidents and unpromising inciting incidents. So a promising inciting incident is something interesting that can form the basis of your play and will force your protagonist to take action. An unpromising inciting incident means there's nothing at stake. So feel free to pause the video real quick and sort them into two columns. And I'm going to assume that you did that. So let's have a look and see how you did. So as you can see here in the unpromising column, finding a fiver, missing the bus, adopting a puppy, boarding class, reading an amazing book, these are all things that happen, but they're pretty boring and nothing's at stake in any of those situations. But in the promising column, everything on that list will force your protagonist to take action. Well, let's look at a couple of examples. Getting a promotion. That's the inciting incident. So the protagonist's goal could be to assert their authority by making big changes. And the action of the play here could be that they attempt to fire an employee who has been with the company the longest. Another example, winning the lottery. Winning the lottery is the inciting incident. The protagonist's goal could be that they want to win their ex back. And the action of the play could be that the protagonist uses a huge, overly extravagant, expensive gesture as a way to impress their ex. So, to sum up, the inciting incident triggers the start of the play. It's not a normal occurrence. It's truly different from the happenings on a normal day. The inciting incident establishes the protagonist's goal. This goal propels the protagonist into action, kickstarting the action of the play. And for a true inciting incident, there must be something at stake. So hopefully this will all be useful when it comes to getting your scenes written. And just keep in mind that you're not writing the inciting incident itself. You're writing the scene that comes directly after or as a result of it. So happy writing!